hope all is well with everyone. Not that this side of my hair wants to stick out. Oh my god. None of this was happening beforehand until I got on here and then all the hair wants to stick up. But welcome in everybody. Today we're going to be talking specifically to the women in the group. We have a lot of women, sometimes men, but majority women that come talking about their different issues when it comes to their health and healing and natural healing and understanding how. So today we're going to be talking about why women struggle so badly when it comes to balancing their blood sugar and dealing with their imbalances and understanding how to fix it naturally, because too many people are sitting out here not understanding that the reason why you're having all these issues with your blood sugar and your hormone regulation, more likely than not, is the food that you are consuming. And so if it's not the food, it also have to look at the products that you're using and the environment that you're in and how you're dealing with inflammation and toxins. So overall, it all can be fixed and rebalanced just by you observing the habits that you have. And so we're going to be talking about, first of all, getting through what we're going to be doing far as how we start combating that, what we need to tackle in order for us to not have to deal with these weight fluctuations, not have to deal with us having fatigue, mental fog, painful menstrual cycles, PCOS, endometriosis, and really understanding what has been happening inside of our body that has caused the imbalance, what habits that we have, what's the root cause, breaking that down, and then getting to the end result, which is how do we heal this? How do we fix this? How do we start dealing with the issue and combating it the way that we should be and the way that we need to be? Thank you for the rose. I really appreciate it. So, when you as a woman are feeling like your body is working against you, your cycle is not working for you every day, you're sitting there having a battle, you feel like you're having a mental crisis because you're dealing with all these different issues of, okay, you feel like all of a sudden you have PMS symptoms, you feel like that you're just angry, you feel like that you just have a total overall imbalance and you're unhappy with the way that your life is going, and it's not outside of just family or work or whatever outside stressors, but actually thinking about the fact that you have these cravings you can't deal with. You feel constantly fatigued. You feel like there's a stubborn weight gain that you can't get rid of. You're having irregular cycles, painful menstrual cycles. These are all signs that you're having blood sugar dysregulations and you have no balance. You're having hormonal issues because they go hand in hand. And so when you look at these signs and you realize that, okay, so this means that I've been out of balance and I've been out of balance for quite a while, you'll realize that the solution to the problems that you're having is you changing your lifestyle, not following diet culture, okay? Because diet culture and medications have led you here down this path of not knowing how to take care of your body, ignoring the key vital signs that your body lets you know that you're unhealthy, as well as the fact that you are not understanding how to keep your body in a balanced state to regulate your hormones, to support your body in the functions that it does day to day. And this is the reason why you wake up with no energy, the reason why you have that stubborn weight gain you can't get rid of, the reason why you constantly have cravings that you feel like shouldn't be there and you know that you shouldn't be feeding into, but you literally cannot fight them. It's because your hormones have been worked overtime and they're not balanced. So we have to start gaining back that balance, understanding how to get to that balance and what we need to do, right? Think about it this way. When you're sitting there and you are struggling as a woman with your blood sugar balances, more because women struggle way more than men when you really look at the statistics on how to balance our insulin, how to keep our estrogen balanced or our progesterone balanced. We think about the cortisol inside the body and how the levels are literally through the roof. They're all controlling factors to how our health is going to pan out, right? And we don't know how to reverse these issues, let alone prevent them. And so this is the reason why we're sitting here with so many women that are dealing with infertility issues right now. We're dealing with so many women that don't understand that you should not be having PMS symptoms. PMSing is not normal. They have made it the norm because more likely than not, women PMS than not actually dealing with PMS symptoms. So we've made it the norm for people to have endometriosis. We've made it the norm for people to have fibroids and cysts. We've made it the norm for people to have irregular cycles. And that's not okay. Because when you look at our health in the total as a woman, our menstrual cycle is directly tailored to our health. It's tied directly to our health to let us know where we are, how healthy we are. But when you're dealing with all these different issues, you have to realize that this is a key factor and sign to let you know that you are overinflamed on the inside. And so when you're not dealing with these issues and reversing them and learning how to heal them naturally, what do you turn to? Doctors and prescriptions. Doctors do not care. They care about keeping you coming back. They don't care about helping you heal. Prescriptions and medications will never help you heal because they're constantly going to have you managing an issue that you have caused, which you heal with food. And so, no matter when you started your menstrual cycle, which is a key factor to let you know how unhealthy you've been for how long you've been alive, is when you started, honestly and truly, because we're seeing numbers that kids are starting younger and younger, girls are starting younger and younger. I worked with kids for over 5 years now, okay? When I was working with kids and I worked at the Boys and Girls Club at one point in time, I had a child that was the age of 5 years old who started their cycle. She was 5. So when I say that, like, this is a crisis that we are not dealing with, but we have made it the norm for children to start their periods, it's insane. Because when she came to me and let me know that there was something going on, and I was like, what do you mean? And I asked her the questions like we all do as women, because we know what it sounds like, but we're hoping it's not that. And she clearly told me that she had started, her and her mom had talked about her starting her cycle. It blew my mind that she was already starting to show signs that her mom and her already had a premeditated talk about her starting her menstrual cycle at the age of 5 years old. My own mother started her cycle at 8. I was lucky enough to start mine when I had gotten into middle school and not that early. But it's the key factor to show you that we have been throwing off our hormone balance since that young, ripe age. And it's to the point where this is the reason why we're starting our menstrual cycle so early. Because when you're healthy and you're a child, you would not be starting your menstrual cycle that early, let alone going through puberty that early. But when you have an overload of estrogen, an overload of progesterone, you have an over imbalance when it comes to your hormones that are supposed to be regulated so that everything in your body is regulated, and you have that disruption, it's going to cause your body to start working overtime, aging itself internally. And we're not really tuning into the fact that we're aging ourselves internally. Coroners are literally doing autopsies on bodies and seeing the fact that when they do these autopsies on people's organs, their organs are 3 times their actual age. So you on the outside could be 30 years old and your organs are 60. So when I look at that and I hear that and think about this 5-year-old started her cycle and thinking where her internal organs are at because of the stress that she's put on her body for 5 whole years with the habits that she's been taught, it blows my mind. So working with women that have these issues of PCOS or having these different disorders, having insulin resistance, having all the issues of inflammation and overload of inflammation or diabetes, and not understanding how to use food as their medicine but wanting to, is my goal. Because if you want to learn how to help your body heal, if you want a change and a shift in your health, then you're going to go seek out the roadmap that helps you be able to do that, not the prescription that helps you manage the issue. Because you've been managing it for years on end. You've been doing this for years, managing it with a prescription, going back and forth to the doctor with the same issue, telling them what you need, and them giving you a prescription for it, them telling you need a surgery. So at what point are you going to realize that you take the diagnosis that they give you and you need to learn how to help yourself heal with food? You need to learn how to eat yourself into health rather than eating yourself into sickness and then expecting a medication to pull you out of it. The medication is not going to help you heal. What helps you heal is the fact that you realize that you have been imbalanced and you need to figure out the root cause that is stemming all of these issues, that is feeding all of the issues inside of your body. So let's talk about why women struggle so bad with their blood sugar imbalances. Let's talk about why they're not healing from these blood sugar imbalances. Thank you for the likes. I really appreciate it. So women's hormones fluctuate throughout the month. We know this. This is why we have a menstrual cycle. Your menstrual cycle should be the way that you not only function throughout the month, but also the way that you consume. So if you're not eating according to the different phases of your cycle, you're doing your body a disservice, and this is going to cause imbalances. Men, on the different hand, have a 24-hour cycle when we versus have a month cycle. So you have to think about the fact that in men's bodies is completely different than women. We know this, but men don't go through a full transformation every single month. They go through their cycle every single day. Every single day their body's renewed. We go through a shedding cycle every single month for that rejuvenation. Okay? So this means that the men's body don't necessarily work just like a woman's body, right? We know this. This is basics, but we have to break it down. So What works for men does not work for women. So why do we sit here and do the same exact thing for both? Why do doctors think that we can put each other in the same category? They do these studies and they only do studies on men. The old studies that they still reference in medical school that they only did on men, they still use those practices. Why do you think that is? Because they don't have enough research or knowledge about the woman's body, because nobody has ever sat down and actually observed a woman's body based on the woman. They base it on the man. They sit here and educate men to teach other women how to take care of women's body. That's not how it's supposed to be, let alone how it should be. Moving forward, we have to start to realize that, first of all, women should be in charge of what women's bodies should be functioning as, because we know how a woman's body functions every month. We know how we feel when we have PMS. We know how it feels when we have a painful menstrual cycle. We know how it feels to have a hormone imbalance. No man can relate to that. And you know why? Because they're not designed to. There's a reason why they go through a 24-hour cycle versus our body goes through a month's worth of cycle. There's another reason why, as a woman, it's so key for you every single month to understand how to de-stress, how to release, how to detox your body. Because men go through 24-hour cycles. We go through a month of holding on to everything and then releasing all at one time. We go through a month cycle of literally holding on and releasing at one time. So this is why it's so important for you to not only not emotionally eat, but also understand how to de-stress yourself properly. Because you're holding on to this every single month. So let's say that you go through this month and you don't deal with the stress that you've dealt with throughout the month that you've held on to. And women hold literal wounds in their wound. That's the reason why it's called a wound, because we hold our wounds in our womb. So when you were stressed out and you hold on to that internal stress and you never release it, that goes directly to your hips. It goes directly to your pelvis. All of our stress as women is stored in our hips. This is the reason why we are the main key carriers of hip-related issues. So when you look at our insulin, when you look at our estrogen, when you look at cortisol, all these three key factors are not being dealt with in the women's community. And this is the reason why we're having so many hormonal imbalances. Your estrogen, when your estrogen is high, your insulin sensitivity is going to worsen. Or no, did I say that right? When your estrogen is high, your insulin sensitivity is not going to improve itself. I don't know if I said that correctly. It didn't sound right in my brain, but I'm going to re-say it. But when your estrogen is balanced the way that it needs to through your menstrual cycle, so it's not estrogen dominant all throughout the month, but in that key factor when your estrogen is high at the level of the peak, because you know when your estrogen is at its peak, because you should know if you don't, this means that you absorb carbs better. This means you should be eating carbs during that time, right? Okay. But when your estrogen is low, you are not going to absorb those carbs correctly. So this means this is going to become insulin issues. This is going to cause you to have different issues of balancing your blood sugar. If you're not sitting there taking care of your body and you're eating a whole bunch of carbs, you're eating a whole bunch of sugar. And this is usually the time that you have a bunch of cravings. When your estrogen is low, your insulin should be balanced the entire time, because this is how you start to develop diabetes. You need to make sure that during this time of this insulin resistance increasing mode, you should be focusing in on eating more nutritional whole foods. Stop giving into those cravings during this time, and realize that those cravings are key factors to tell you that you're missing some kind of vitamin or mineral. It's not because you want sugar. It's not because you're sitting here craving sweets. It's because you did not balance enough for you to feel full and to be full. And if you do want a little sweet treat on the side, you're not going to eat a whole bunch of sugar in order to compensate that craving. You're also going during this time to have more weight gain. So you have to be cautious of what you're eating so that you are getting the nutrient-dense foods and less calories. So you're eating things that give you all the nutrition that you need, all of the balance that you need for nutrients, without giving you all the overload of calories that you know you're going to have to consume, because you need the food for your body to go through the process of releasing and doing it fully and correctly. So that's the key. This is not the time for you to be starving yourself or feeling like you're overeating and so not eating enough or not feeding into the cravings necessarily. Not giving into the cravings is going to make it worse. What you need to do is to figure out what foods fuel the cravings without fueling inflammation and toxins. And it's possible. You also have to look at during the time of your whole menstrual cycle, this whole month, like I said, because you go through a month phase, your cortisol levels. Chronic stress spikes your cortisol. This is going to raise your blood sugar levels. This is going to force your body to store fat in places not only do you not want, but also store fat in places that it's hard to get rid of. And so have you ever noticed, because I feel like we all know this, when you are overstressed, you crave more sugar. When you're overstressed, you seem to all of a sudden you've gained weight. You don't even realize when it started. When you're overstressed, you don't take care of yourself as much as you should be and you could be. That cortisol is driving up your blood sugar. And it's driving your cravings as well, because as people, we have literally trained ourselves from a very young age to when we have a craving and we're stressed out, feed that craving with sugar. When you're stressed out, feed your emotions with sugar. Eat ice cream because you're sad. Eat cookies and ice cream and cake and all these different things because you went through a breakup. This is what we're taught. And so we're not taught that, no, you shouldn't be sitting here and literally eating a whole pint of ice cream. But if you want a scoop or two, make sure it doesn't have inflammatory oils. Make sure it doesn't have all of this different soy and additives in it. Make natural ice cream, which is easy, outside of just making it with dairy, because that's the way that everybody else does it. There are plenty of ways for you to make sherbet, make ice cream without all the additives and toxic fillers, and you can make it in bulk, so you're not spending a whole bunch of money on ice cream like y'all are doing, buying a tub of ice cream for $10+ that you're going to go through. Either that or it's going to freeze a burn. But instead of us sitting back and realizing that we're doing ourselves a disservice by continuously doing the same thing and expecting a different result, we want to sit here and try to argue about how you need dairy, how you have to have meats, when dairy makes you inflamed and so does meat. So this is feeding inflammation inside of your body, which is also going to feed hormonal imbalances. Think about also in this whole spectrum of you dealing with that inflammation or not dealing with it, how your insulin is being affected. Because women with PCOS, prediabetes symptoms, or hormonal imbalances are more likely than not having high insulin levels. So this is going to make it harder for you to burn fat. It's going to make it easier for your fat to store in places that you don't want it to. And then it's also going to make it easier for your body to be in fight or flight mode constantly, which is going to cause a number of different issues like your organs working overtime. Fatigue. It's going to cause you to sit here and have an overloaded inflammation, which is going to cause an irregular period or a painful menstrual cycle. So in the end, it's a full circle of imbalances that play off of each other, that are literally a tumbling snowball that is going to lead you down a path of having a surgery or having to depend on medication, because you don't realize your body's natural design, which is that it can heal itself, and it will heal itself. It's just a matter of what you're doing and how you do it. So when you're sitting here and you're thinking like, okay, well, how did I get here? What have I been doing? I'm confused, because at this point, it's like I've been told I can do this, and I've been told to eat meat. I've been told to eat dairy. But the impact of your diet culture is the problem in your lifestyle. And so this is impacting and having a negative impact on the female hormones, the female reproductive system. And so you have to look at what foods are wreaking havoc inside of your body. Processed carbs, refined sugars. All of these are going to spike your insulin, and they're going to cause major hormone fluctuations. Dairy, like I said, it has a number of different issues when it comes to causing inflammation. This is going to cause your insulin to spike from the inflammation in the dairy itself. It's going to cause factors like your PCOS to worsen. Your endometriosis is going to worsen. Because we are not designed to consume dairy, but yet we have literally sat here and trained our body to consume dairy, even if we weren't supposed to be in the first place. This little piece of hair is really bothering me because it won't let down. Soy will mimic estrogen, because if you do not know this, soy itself has phytoestrogens inside of it. Phytoestrogen is a estrogen-based, plants have their own estrogen. That makes sense. Some plants have their own estrogen. They're called phytoestrogens. That's the way I want to say it. It wasn't coming out right. This phytoestrogen is going to throw off your hormone imbalance because it's going to make your normal estrogen fight the phytoestrogens, because your body has its own natural estrogen, and it's going to look at the plant estrogen and go, well, this isn't the right kind of estrogen that I need. What am I supposed to do with this? And so then it raises its natural estrogen to overcompensate to fight off the fake estrogen. This causes estrogen dominance. I'm somebody who was estrogen dominant all of my life since I started my menstrual cycle, all the way up until I went plant-based and started to understand that they're pushing soy so heavily for a reason. There's an agenda against our health as women, especially women of color. And they've been talking about how the fact that they're trying to attack our reproductive system, and they're trying to get us to stop having babies, but they want other people to have more babies, different things like that people are talking about. It's in the mix, right? But we're not thinking about that they're attacking everybody with soy. Men and women. It causes estrogen dominance in men as well. There is an agenda against our health that we are not tackling at the front hand, because some article in like the 1960s told us that plants don't have phytoestrogens, and if they do have phytoestrogens, they're not affecting the body the way that it seems like, or people are saying that it causes estrogen dominance. But here we are in 2025, and they're still telling you in every other article except for in the US that they have their own phytoestrogens, and when they do studies, it raises estrogen in everybody. Regardless if you're estrogen dominant or not, it still raises your estrogen levels. And like we talked about in the beginning of this, they don't do enough studies with women based on that whole month cycle. Instead, they base it on men's body, which is a 24-hour cycle. And so we're not even getting a right amount of accurate numbers when it comes to that, because they're not weighing in on, are they in a follicular phase? Are they ovulating? What phase of their menstrual cycle are they in? They're not saying all of that in these articles. So that's why I say that you have to take these things with a grain of salt and really do your research into it. Because when they do actual extensive research outside of the US, because every single time that I reference an article, it's usually outside of the US, they talk about the fact that in women, it raises our estrogen levels. In men, it raises our estrogen levels. Regardless if it causes estrogen dominance inside of your body, because maybe that's not an issue for you, but for the people that do have that issue, that's going to cause a complete imbalance inside of your body, which is going to throw you off and make everything that you have going on even worse. So why keep sitting there and consuming something that you know is good, it could possibly cause an imbalance, when they put it in your milk, or they give you soy milk, but they put it in your snacks, they put it in your different types of food. They literally market people to get tofu and eat tofu, even though it's literally soy. We have to sit back and realize they put soy sauce in almost everything. And then they talk about how the culture that uses the most soy has the most amount of people that are diabetic outside of the black people. They talk about that. That's an article that I think I was reading. It was either in China or it was in Europe, that was comparing different parts of the world when it came to them having diabetes. And they are either running right behind us, or if they haven't beaten us already. That's a key factor to let you know. They have linked their soy to them having pre-diabetic and diabetic symptoms. So when you look at this and you realize that you need to stop throwing off your hormonal imbalance, you'll also realize that caffeine and alcohol gotta go. I rarely drink alcohol. I never drink caffeine. Coffee beans themselves are heavily sprayed with pesticides, heavily. Alcohol, more likely than not, is also sprayed with pesticides. Majority of alcohol is either derived from corn, soy, some type of plant that's not the best plant. It's the cheapest plant. They choose the cheapest ones for a reason. And so then they derive it from this GMO crop, this GMO soy, this GMO corn. And then you sit there and you consume it, which alcohol itself is already inflammatory outside of the fact that it's GMO. So you have to be really, really careful. I'm not saying that you cannot have an alcoholic beverage ever. What I'm saying is you have to do your research into what company you're buying from, what brand it is, because there's some wines that aren't even vegan. The majority of them derive their alcohol from actual like animal fats. So you really have to do your research into things that you are consuming. And not enough people are realizing that food is medicine. So if you're not looking at food as medicine and using it as medicine, that means you're doing your body a disservice, and you're probably throwing it off. You have to have a balance of nutrients inside of your meals in order for you to not only gain that balance back, but also learn how to heal. So you need to do things like eating magnesium, because it's going to help you regulate your cortisol and your insulin, right? Outside of just a supplement, you need to eat your magnesium. You need to eat the natural magnesium that comes from food, not just take a supplement for it. You need to get your omega-3s. This is going to help you be able to reduce your inflammation and balance your blood sugar. You have to get your chromium and your berberine. I think that's how you say it. I don't know how to say it. Berberine. This is going to help you improve your insulin sensitivity. So you're sitting there looking like, okay, well, how do I get these things? You're like, okay, you're listing these things, but where do I get these from? Food, fruits and vegetables. You get magnesium from different things, like you eating broccoli. You are so welcome. You are so welcome. You eating things that have a high fiber content, because this is going to help you be able to go to the bathroom, flush your system out. So your greens, you need to be eating your legumes, which are in your beans, which are like lentils. You getting black beans, kidney beans, whatever beans that you like. You sitting here realizing that you can't just sit up here every single day and not eat your fruits and vegetables, but rather they need to become a priority in what you consume every single day. Because once you make it a priority, you won't be craving all this junk, one. And two, you'll realize how long you've been throwing off your balance and you've never known how to take care of your body correctly, because they never taught us. They programmed us into being unhealthy. And then when you sit here and you develop a disease or an illness, they look back at you and they're like, well, it just runs in your family. What runs in your family are the same terrible habits that everybody has. You also have to really sit back and realize that we're eating way too much and we're not fasting enough. We're not cleansing enough. We're not releasing enough. So, majority of society has now come into the point of knowing what fasting is. They kind of understand it. They're not really accepting to it, but they understand it. A lot of people are intermittent fasting. I intermittent fast. I was intermittent fasting in 2020 before I even went plant-based. And so you have to realize that in order for you to really start taking care of your body, you have to implement fasting in your life as a norm. Because when you give your body time to fast and to cleanse and to reset itself and to detox itself, this is going to help it be able to heal itself instead of having to work on digesting. It's going to be able to flush and to reset instead of having to digest all the food that you're eating. If you're still eating 3 meals a day and you're still eating meat, you're still consuming dairy, you're over consuming and you're probably overloading your digestive tract. This overload is going to cause you to have different issues like parasites. It's going to cause you to have different issues inside of your gut balance, which your gut is literally how you regulate your whole entire body, because when your gut is off, your brain is also going to be off as well. If you're still consuming gluten puts holes inside of your gut. This is going to throw off your brain balance, which throws off all your hormones. So you really have to realize that you have to be strategic with not only what you're consuming and when you're consuming, because this is a key factor to your hormonal health. You need to be eating without causing your body stress. Every time you eat now, currently, I can tell you, you're probably putting your body in a stressed out state, and that's not a good thing, because women should fast differently than men, as well as the fact that we should understand that we should be eating according to our cycle. And I'm going to keep saying this throughout the life, because we have to understand that there are different times for you to be able to feed your cravings for sugar. There are different times in the month that you're okay to eat carbs. There's different times in the month that you need to eat only fruits and vegetables. And we've been doing it the wrong way. And this is going to cause, and it has been causing, a spike in our cortisol. And this is going to cause your weight gain to be worse, your weight fluctuation to keep happening. And so when you're sitting here and you're like, okay, well, like, I have been doing this, or this is a habit that I have and it's been terrible, it's not been supporting me, my cycle is completely thrown off, I'm feeling bad, like different things are going on that are negative habits, negative reactions inside of your body, there is a way for you to heal yourself naturally. And so you're sitting here thinking like, okay, well, how do I start doing this, right? You heal your hormones by first reducing your inflammation. Reduce with the inflammatory habits that you come in contact with. Understanding that you have to cut out inflammatory foods like dairy, like your processed snacks, heavily processed sugar, processed snacks with all these terrible toxic chemicals and additives and fillers inside of them. Realizing that the terrible processed sugar, overload of processed sugar is doing you a disservice. That's the word I'm thinking of. You're doing yourself a disservice. You need to be getting natural sugars from fruits. You need to understand what natural alternative sugars that are out there outside of you just getting white sugar and brown sugar. You also have to realize that using foods to help yourself heal, anti-inflammatory foods like berries, turmeric, you getting your greens because you need your greens because, like I said, that's healthy fiber, healthy fats, healthy proteins, and that comes from things outside of meats, but actual vegetables, actual fruits. This is how you start to give your body the anti-inflammatory foods that it needs and it's been craving. Because if you think about it, how people are talking about, well, that's a healthy protein if I eat meat, it's a healthy fat if I eat meat. How did you get to this inflammatory state? If you're eating exactly what you're supposed to be doing, how did you get to the inflammatory state? And that's a genuine question that I ask everybody that has the argument of the fact that they should be eating meat, they should be eating dairy. So how did you get to the state of your body not being able to take care of itself and to help itself heal if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing? Because you have been imbalanced. You're not doing what your body's designed to eat. You're not eating the way. You're not consuming the way. You're not using the right products. And so this is the reason why right now you're sitting here and you're trying to figure out what to do. And so thinking in the same space that you have been in is keeping you down. Instead, learn how to reparent and reprogram the habits so that you are not conformed into this little box of sitting here thinking that you're healthy because you're following a food pyramid and a My Plate. Release that and realize that it was there for a reason. It's designed for a reason. There's a reason why they started marketing dairy to everybody. There's a reason why they started making meals with meat every single meal. Step 2, you have to balance your blood sugar daily. You need to make sure that you are getting stabilizers. Start your day with a healthy protein and a healthy fats. These are stabilizers, not carbs. This will prevent you from crashing and it'll keep you full longer so you make it to your next meal without doing a bunch of snacking or deciding to make a bad decision when it comes to the foods that you eat. Prioritize getting enough fiber because, like I said, you have to be going to the bathroom, you have to be flushing. This is going to support you in your glucose absorption so that you don't have an overload of glucose, which is going to cause your liver to overcompensate, to try to sit here and make more or hold on to sugar rather, and your pancreas won't have to sit here and try to make more sugar to compensate the terrible sugar. Eat balanced meals. And when I say balance, sometimes you need a snack throughout the day. That's okay. Don't decide that you're going to go grab some cookies or some chips for your snack. Figure out, what do you like? Do you like avocados? Do you like grapes? Make sure you prep for beforehand to make sure when I am hungry, I'm not going to go to the bad decision. So I can have chips in my home and not have to sit there and flip around and be like, dang it, I have to throw all this away because I'm going to keep eating it because it's terrible for me and I know that I'm going to be craving it, right? Number 3. Important, manage your stress and your sleep. You have to be getting enough sleep. Poor sleep equals high cortisol. High cortisol is going to lead you to insulin resistance. Think about also the fact that when you were sitting here dealing with the issue of simple stresses, not the stress of like life, work, family, whatever else, but simple stresses, just as simple as, okay, I've been putting myself in stress because I've been eating this way, and you want to release it. It's not just, okay, I'm not going to eat this. Find replacements. Find something that's going to help you be able to replace the things that you like to eat. So you like to eat candy, gummies, chocolate. Find the healthy alternative so that you have something to fall back on when you do want to eat your snacks and you want to eat your sweets. Also, you have to start doing stress relieving practices so that you're not eating when you're overstressed. You're not eating when you're emotional. Do your deep breathing. If you meditate, do your meditations. Do some stretches. If you do stretches, go for a walk. Do some journaling. Color. Get creative. Do things that help you be able to get out of the mindset of thinking that when you're emotional and when you're overstimulated, you're overwhelmed. Start eating. This can significantly not only lower your blood sugar, but also help you be able to balance and rebalance your hormones, because you'll stop putting your body in a stressed out state so much when it comes to the things you eat. Get your body moving. This is a key factor to not only stop over consuming, but also help your body flush itself, because when you are moving, everything inside of your body is also moving. So think about resistance training, because this is going to help you improve your insulin sensitivity. Think about simple things as cardio, so walking, running if you enjoy that, biking if you enjoy that, because when you're not doing enough cardio, this is going to cause your cortisol to raise, which is also going to cause you to gain weight. Weight gain is directly tied to you developing diabetes. So stop running yourself into the ground thinking that you have to run hours of cardio, you have to run for 30 minutes. Just walk. Get a rebounder. Jump for 10 minutes on the rebounder trampoline. It can be simplified. Rather than doing something that you don't like, find something that you do like. Find something that it literally makes you turn your brain off and stop thinking, oh, I'm working out, and just thinking like, okay, I just have to do this for 10 to 15 minutes. Let me just jump rope today. Let me do some stretches. Let me just do some jumping jacks. Let me go around the house and do my stretches as I'm cleaning. Do simple things that help you along the way, so that you can make a positive connotation on taking care of your body, because we have a lot of negativity when it comes to us actually taking care of our body, especially as women. The reality check that we have to have is the fact that hormonal imbalances do not fix themselves, and even though we sit here and think they will, they won't. So before I get off, I want you to first drop any questions that you have down below. Drop any questions that you want me to answer, and understand that if you are serious about dealing with your hormonal imbalances and balancing your blood sugar naturally, I do have a program that is designed to help you be able to do that. It is a 12-week program that is going to help you with the full transformation. It's called Bloom and Thrive, that is going to support you in not only learning how to use food as your medicine, because we're going to be learning how to make plant-based meals, but also literally crafting your own medicine, making your own non-toxic products, so that we can get rid of all this inflammation inside of our body and heal, and then stay sustained in our healing, because we'll know how to start supporting and taking care of our body the way that we need to, and the way that we should have been all of our life, that we have not been taught. So what questions do you guys have for me before I get off of here? And I really appreciate all the comments, all the likes, guys. Thank you for the 1K likes. I thank you all for being here. I got on here a little later than I normally do. But what questions do you guys have for me before I hop off? I will be answering them. What questions do you have about natural healing, a plant-based lifestyle, whatever topic that we hit on today? If you had any questions, diabetes, weight gain, weight struggles, hormone imbalances, fatigue, what questions do you guys have for me? Let me know. I would love to know. If not, I'm going to hop off. I'll give you guys a couple more minutes. Give you a few. I give you a few. But I do appreciate each and every one of you being here. Thank you. No questions? Y'all have no questions? I'm shocked. Okay. Well, I am going to hop off. All of my past lives are posted on YouTube, so if you do not already subscribe to my YouTube, go subscribe. If you missed out on any lives, you want to catch up on content, you want to check out the Eating Away Diabetes, the Healing Diabetes, go on ahead and go subscribe. That playlist is on there. Oh, you're perfectly fine. DM me the question that you have. You can DM me. My DMs are always open for anybody that's here. You are perfectly fine. I appreciate you for being here. I hope you all have an amazing, amazing rest of your day. I am going to get off. Like I said, my DMs are always open, of course. And if you are watching this later on YouTube, drop a comment. I will answer your comments, or you find me on my other socials. Just in case they take TikTok away from us, don't forget to follow me on my other socials. All the links are in my bio. If you want to check out the program, it is linked in my bio. Have a great rest of your day. Be safe if you're traveling home.